Well, welcome to practice. This month we're talking about grounding and feeling safe in our bodies and really everything that embodies the root chakra. And so the last practice, again, kind of the sister practice to this, the standing in your strength one, I shared about a morning walk that I had and how important it is to connect with nature to ground. So this is going to be a continuation of that. And when we connect with nature, when we're really out and experiencing nature, whether it's in a forest or, feet in the grass or on a nature walk or at the ocean, we're really close to the ocean here. When we do all of those things, it becomes a little bit easier to actually listen to our body's cues. And this is where I want to go today, because in the Living Lush mentorship, and then also the emails that I get after I share a practice, after I share a class, and even really the last couple of months, this entire summer, the time of this recording is in August, everybody's talking about grounding. Maybe you're not, but everybody's talking about grounding and wanting to feel safe in their bodies. And one of the reasons why we can't just do a couple of yoga practices a week and then expect to feel safe in our bodies is because the rest of the time we're denying their cues. So I shared, if we follow each other on Instagram, and maybe I'll share more, but I shared that it's really important when we feel something in our body to honor it rather than to start to logic it away with rationale, okay? And so when we feel our heart stir, right, we want to honor it. If we feel the hairs kind of stand up on the back of our neck or our arms, we want to honor it. When we feel a gut reaction to something, we want to honor it. And what we've been taught in our society is not to honor it, to honor what is logical and what is rational and what is information and what is in front of us. And this is why we have a hard time feeling safe in our bodies, is because we're literally programming ourselves not to trust them. And the same thing happens on the other side. So those are more maybe like fear or nervous or like, oh, something isn't right. But the same thing happens when we experience joy in the body. I hear a lot, I am experiencing joy, I'm experiencing expansiveness. And then what happens is we second guess it. We second guess the joy. Or when we feel expansive and we want to step into something new, we create all this logic and rationale around why we can't do the thing, whether it's time or whether it's money or whether it's, not the right time or whatever it is. I see it on both sides. And so what this practice and a lot of these practices this month are about is really learning to honor what we feel first, rather than trying to seek external stimuli, external sources to inform us of what is happening within our own beings. Okay, so to begin, we're going to start on the back. We're going to start in constructive rest. I am not going to go there, so you can go ahead and come on to the back. And yeah, this is the time of this video. I am now in my third trimester, so the back is just not comfortable. But as you come down, you're going to come into constructive rest, which means that the soles of the feet are going to come to the floor. And the knees are going to be bent. Feet are going to be wide, the width of your mat. And you're just going to turn the toes in. And as you turn the toes in, the knees will knock together. And what that will do is press your low back, your sacrum, your pelvis to the floor. And you might need to wiggle. You might want to place a folded blanket underneath of the head if this is at all uncomfortable on the neck. Remember, these are nourishing practices, so you take what you need. And the hands might rest somewhere on the body. They might rest on the belly. Sometimes that evokes a sense of safety and really allowing us to ground and come back to ourselves, or the hands might float down by the sides with the palms to face up. So you get to decide here, where do I want to place my hands? And begin to notice the breath, feeling free at any moment to take a breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feeling grounded and safe in our bodies is connected very much to the element of earth, which is why we're starting on the back. And so as you're here checking in with your breath, no pranayama technique right now, just checking in with the breath. I just want you to ask yourself how you respond to your own body's wisdom. Do you respond? Can you hear it? Do you trust it? I'm really honoring whatever comes up without judgment, but perhaps setting an intention that I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to listen and see what happens. And then take a few more deep breaths here, seeing if you can start to breathe down towards the belly, maybe even breathing down towards the pelvis as you inhale. And exhaling to empty. And so that may not happen right away, but we're just starting to guide the breath down a little bit deeper into the body. Good. And after this last round of breath, the eyes are closed. You can blink them open. And we're going to start to do a bit of movement. Just check around your space that you have a block or a thick book or even a folded up blanket nearby. That way you're not reaching for it, rolling over as we're moving through practice. So you're going to keep the knees bent, but start to bring the feet nice and wide on the mat. Toes are going to face forward. I'm going to sit up. You're going to stay on the back. So you're laying on the back, unless you have a baby also in your belly, which I know some of you do out there. So you're going to drop the knees over towards the right side. And then inhale up through center and drop the knees over to the left. So you're just starting to awaken the pelvis, awaken the hips, the knees. Stay on the back if you can. If not, you can prop yourself up like me on the hands. And as you move from side to side, coming onto the outer edges of the feet, your gaze is going to go in the opposite direction. So if the knees are left, the gaze will go right. You'll just move back and forth. Knees go right, gaze goes left. Yeah, good. Going slow. So trying to slow down or moderate, not super fast. Now just getting into that channel that is the neck. And finishing out on either side. And finding your feet so that they're now, again, parallel to each other. They're going to be closer into one another. So you can bring the feet so they're about hip width distance. We're going to come into bridge pose. So arms are going to come down by the sides. You can walk your shoulder blades down, shoulders away from the ears. Make sure you can tickle the heels with your fingers. As you inhale, come up into Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. This is our bridge pose. This is also safe if you're pregnant or postpartum too. And we're going to hold here for maybe 2 more breaths. Press down into all 4 corners of the feet. And then gently lower the hips down. Now find your block, your pillow, a folded up blanket, whatever you have, you're going to bring it in between the inner thighs. So we're bringing some awareness into the inner thighs and the pelvic floor, which is really the root of our bodies, especially when we talk about the chakra system. And on the next inhale, lift up, squeezing that block. Back of the head presses into the earth. Have a little bit of space for the throat. You can close the eyes here. And we're not squeezing the block for dear life. I also want to make sure that's clear. Just a nice gentle pressure here. And can you lengthen your tailbone a little bit more towards your knees or your heels? So you're getting a bit more space in the low back. Another breath in. And as you exhale, everything comes down. Good, remove your block and then start to lift your hips up just enough that you can slide your block underneath of your sacrum. So it can be on the low height, the medium height. You can also stack up 2 blocks here if you wanted, all right? And if at any point being on the back doesn't feel good, come up to seated. That's fine. You can just come up to seated and do some seated cat-cows or side body stretches. Now from here, we're going to keep the left foot down, extend the right foot all the way up to the sky. So we're getting a nice inversion here. You can look at your toes. I feel like we don't really look at our feet very often, and I say that often. And you're just going to roll through the ankle. And notice the ankle joint itself. Notice if it's smooth or sticky, popping, cracking. We're just noticing. And then take this in the opposite direction. Roll the ankle in the opposite direction. Good. Give the leg and the foot a good shake. Shake it. And then cross your right ankle over your left knee. So now you're in a bit of a figure 4 shape. What's going to happen is your right hip probably will drop. What I want you to think about doing is keeping your hips pretty level on your block or blocks. Flex through your right foot. And instead of letting your right hip drop, let your knee drop. And for me, I even press down on my left hip just to keep that sense of stability. You may feel a little sensation here, maybe a lot. Everybody's body is different. And then gently release the right sole of the foot to the floor. We're going to take the other side. So left toes are going to lift up. This is really beautiful, really nice to have the heart above the head as we do this. And then go ahead and roll out through the left ankle. Look at your feet, flare the toes. You might compare right side to left side. Go ahead and roll in the opposite direction. And then start to shake the foot, the leg, shake, shake, shake. And then begin to cross left ankle over the right knee. Same thing here. So we're not dropping into that left hip. The hips stay neutral. Only the left knee is really dropping, and it may not be that much. Okay, you might feel this in the low back of it. You might feel this in the hip. Flex through the left toes. Breathe here. And then gently, everything's going to come down. Left toes are going to come back to the earth. As you're ready, press into both feet. Lift the hips up. Lovely inversions in this practice already. Go ahead and come down. You can hug the knees into the chest if that feels okay. If it's too much to be on the back, go ahead and start to transition into child's pose. So we'll all meet in child's pose, but if you want a moment in Apanasana to hug the knees in, feel a stretch in the low back, you can certainly go there. Yeah. And take your time as you're coming up. If you were on the back, anything going on with the belly, of course, if you have a baby there, if you're pregnant or postpartum, but you can always roll to the side, or you can rock and roll your way up just to find Malasana, to find child's pose. Good. And taking our time, just like we move throughout our days, sometimes our bodies arrive in a place, but our whole being hasn't caught up yet to that space. So as you're in child's pose, let the forehead relax towards the earth, or find a pillow that you can set it on. Let the palms perhaps turn to face up towards the sky. Let the shoulders roll down the back. Take a full breath into the back body. One more breath here. Maybe an open mouth exhale to sigh it out. And we're going to move our way into tabletop. Come into tabletop and begin to do a little more work with the spine. So spread the fingers nice and wide. We want a nice firm base, especially for where we're going after cat-cow. And on the inhale, as you're ready, tuck the toes, reach the heart forward, lift the chin. And then as you exhale, round into the back body, press into the tops of the feet, chin towards the chest. And cycling through this at your own pace. I always say cat-cow can look different day to day. So if you want to sway a little bit, if you want to stay in one space longer, you can do that. Nice. And from here, finding a neutral position. Left knee is going to slide a little bit closer to the center of your mat, just for stability's sake. Keep your palms down. You're going to take your right toes back behind you. Either right toes can stay on the earth or start to float them into a half spinal balance. So the mid back's going to press up to the sky here. We don't want our backs dropping down. Yeah. Take an inhale. As you exhale, turn the toes out. Leg is going to stay straight. We're going to airplane this leg. So you're going to take that leg all the way out to the right side, feeling it in the outer right hip. Weight even in the hands, more or less. And then go ahead and set the whole right foot down on the earth. Ooh, hello hips. Press into the hands. Right hand's going to stay down. Left arm's going to reach up to the sky. Doesn't have to reach all the way up there. Inhale. And then as you exhale, thread the left arm underneath of the right. So variation of thread the needle. Left shoulder down, left cheek down. Pull the right hip back. And that right hand, you can do whatever you want with it. You can keep it down on the ground and maybe press into it a little bit. You can reach it forwards to the top of your mat. Some of us will wrap it around the back. And really notice what you feel. Stay here for about 2 more breaths and notice if you feel more sensation in the shoulder, in the back of the heart. In the inner thigh even. And we're gently going to press back into that right hand. So bring it underneath of the shoulder, unravel, hands towards the earth. And then on the inhale, start to rise up. Hands can come to the hips first, or they can lift up towards the sky. So you're resting on that left shin. Go ahead and grab your left wrist, side body stretch up and over towards the right. And we press down into the right sole of the foot. Lift the chin just slightly, nice big side body stretch. And then gently, we're gonna come all the way back through center, reach the arms up, maybe look up at your fingers. And then the hands can come down. We're gonna get out of this the same way we came in. So you're gonna lift up that whole right leg out to the side like an airplane wing, lift it up, and then swing it back behind you for half spinal balance. Now the right toes are down. The hips are gonna be level. Press the mid back to the sky. We're gonna take drinking bird. So you're gonna take an inhale. And as you exhale, hug the elbows in as you lower, almost like a chaturanga. You're lowering your nose towards the floor. It does not have to touch. Inhale, lift. You may only lower an inch. Exhale. So you have the seesaw effect with that right leg. Inhale, lift. Just one more. Lower. And lift. Go ahead and put the right knee down, sink back into your child's pose, or if you want, go ahead and come into downward facing dog. You can tuck the toes and lift up. It's going to be totally up to you. Maybe you go to down dog and then child's pose, or child's pose and then down dog. One of the things I want to emphasize as we continue to move throughout all of the practices, but for whatever reason I feel it coming up more, is that these practices are called Nourish for a reason. So when you want to take a break, you take a break. We have these moments of effort and we have these moments of ease. Okay, not everything has to be efforting and forcing. Remember that. Okay, so we're going to work our way back into tabletop, and we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to face the opposite direction. You don't have to move directions at all. Spread the fingers wide. This is our nice firm base, okay, especially for all this balancing work we're doing. Slide the right knee just a little bit closer to the center so we have more balance, and then take the left toes back. They can stay on the earth and slide out as we do this, or again, mid back presses to the sky. You can float the left toes. Float the left toes. Inhale here. As you exhale, the toes turn out to the side. You'll feel that shift in the hips, and then bring that leg all the way around, airplane wing. Go ahead and set the whole left foot all the way down to the earth. Left hand's going to stay down. Right arm is going to reach up to the sky. Doesn't mean it's actually going to get there. And then exhale, thread right arm underneath of the left. Shoulder down, cheek down. Take your time. You can also bring a pillow or a blanket underneath of the head here. And anything you want to do with this left hand can stay where it is. It can reach forward. It can also spiral behind and hook into the right inner thigh. And then gently, left hand coming back underneath of the shoulder, unravel. Press into it, bring the hands back to the earth. Find your stability, whole left foot pressing into the ground. As you inhale, you can rise up, hands to the hips first, or lift them all the way up to the sky. Lengthen the tailbone down, grab your right wrist, take an inhale here, and as you exhale, side body stretch up and over to the left. That's a big one. Inhale, come up through center, maybe look up through your fingers. And then exhale, hands come down. Okay, we come out of the same way we got back in. Press into the fingers, press into the palms, lift your left leg, or you can slide it back around. You're totally fine. Come back into your half spinal balance. Notice if your belly dropped. Go ahead and pull the mid back up to the sky. Hips neutral. Here we go. Drinking bird. Spiral the elbow creases forward. Take an inhale. As you exhale, elbows hug in as you lower the chest, the chin. The nose might tap the earth, but that's not really the point here. Two more. Inhale. And one more. Inhale as you lift. Slowly lower the left knee down. Your choice, child's pose, downward facing dog, a combination of the two. And notice what's happening in your body. These twists, drinking bird, these big side body openers, they are invigorating usually. So see if that's happening in your body. Feel that sense of heat rising, which is the opposite of so much earth, right? Earth is cooling. We need that too. And then we're all eventually going to meet in downward facing dog and Adho Mukha Svanasana. And as you come into downward facing dog, same idea, spread the fingertips wide like starfish. And on the inhale, send the right leg up to the sky, any amount. Doesn't have to be high. Right toes are going to face down. We're not opening here yet. Another big inhale. And as you exhale, we'll step that right foot forward. to come on either on the inside of the right hand, in between the hands, or on the outside of the right hand. You'll see me, I'm going to take it on the outside just because baby's growing here, okay? Hands on the outside, we're going to find our low lunge. So left toes are going to be tucked under, and back foot is going to be lifted. Hands can be flat on the earth. I'm using blocks. You don't necessarily have to. And as you're ready, press down into your right big toe and inhale, lift the arms up into your high crescent. Arms reaching up to the sky, soften the shoulders. And we breathe here. Right knee is over the right ankle. I'm taking crescent a little bit higher these days. If you want to drop down lower, you can. I also recommend bending that back knee a bit so you can lengthen the tailbone down. Okay, we don't want the tailbone way back behind us. Soften the shoulders. Reach with the fingers gently. You don't necessarily need to be forceful with them either. And we're going to start to feel some fire in the hips. So on the inhale, start to tilt your torso forwards. So you have a nice long spine. You're on an angle here. Arms can stay reaching or they can come down to the heart or the hips, all good. On your next breath, you're going to step that left foot up, tap it on the inside of the right foot, and then inhale, take it back. Maybe on the exhale, step the foot forward, and then inhale, take it back. You have a long spine, so the spine is kind of angled on a diagonal. This is good for the back body, the back chain of the body. And I know this is a lot. This is a lot of work happening in the leg, but we need it. This is what's going to bring the energy down into the body. And the next time the foot steps up, you can drop the heel. Stay in your chair pose now. Weight is even between the feet. Chair pose, Utkatasana. You can reach the arms up. You can take it higher, lower, doesn't matter to me. Inhale. And as you exhale, swing the right arm back behind you. Left arm's going to stay forward for a nice twist. Hips are going to stay forward. You might look out over your right shoulder, your right fingertips. You might smile here. Good. On the inhale, come back up through center, straighten out through the legs. Oh, salute the sun. And then exhale, bring the hands down to the heart. Maybe down by the sides. Breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Part of learning to trust our bodies is to come back to them, which is what we're doing in these practices, right? Good. Let the feet be a bit wider than the hips, and you're going to turn the toes out just slightly. And we're going to do this practice, I call it scooping the earth. A lot of the practices that I do, you all know this by now, are very somatic and very interpretive because we want to evoke certain elements and bring them into our bodies. So we're going to bring the arms out wide. You can take an inhale, kind of like bird wings, inhale. As you exhale, bend the knees. You're going to tip the heart forward and imagine you're scooping something up off of the earth, maybe the earth itself, and then lift this up in front of you up to the sky. Open the arms wide, kind of like star pose. And then as you exhale, do it again. Come forward, arms wide, scoop the earth, and then inhale, lift up. Open the arms wide. And just cycle through this at your own pace. And just remembering our connection to something that isn't necessarily, a screen or a tiny device. Reminding ourselves to look down at the earth, but also to look up at the sky. My dad was in this weekend, actually, and he always is looking at the clouds and at the moon and the stars. Like his gaze is always up, and it was this beautiful reminder, seeing everyone, walking around on their phones, looking down into laptops. It was just this beautiful reminder to look up, connect with something bigger. Two more. And now from here, as you lower, you're going to lower, come down into Malasana, into a squat. So as you come down, toes are still a little bit wide, weight can be back in the heels. Press the elbows on the inside of the knees. I'm actually going to use blocks here. just because some of this is getting a bit uncomfortable for me. So you can actually sit your tailbone, your hips down on a block or two, elbows on the inside of the knees, squeezing the elbows together. Or if you don't need that, you don't necessarily need to have blocks. You can hover here. That'll be a bit more work on the legs. What I also want you to do is relax your toes. A lot of us grip our toes in Malasana. Heart reaches forward, big deep breath in. Exhale it out. And go ahead and release that. Come forward into a forward fold. You can heel toe the feet in a bit. Move your blocks if you have them. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Plant the hands, your choice. Down dog. Step back. Move through Chaturanga Dandasana. Come into child's pose. Really decide what it is that your body is asking for. Good. All right. Meeting again in Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Good. Fingertips spread nice and wide. Shoulders rolling away from the ears. Go ahead and take the left foot up to the sky. Left toes are going to face down. Any amount, doesn't have to be super high. Press the earth away as you here. Inhale, get long. And as you exhale, step that left forward in between the hands or on the outside of the left hand, left fingers. And we're going to find our low lunge. So not Anjane, the back knee will be lifted. Right toes tucked underneath of you. Heart reaching forwards. And then as you're ready, you can either bring hands to hips or just start to reach them all the way up to the sky. Finding your crescent. Shoulders soften, fingertips reach. And again, you might be lower in this. You might want to come higher. My back knee is bent a little bit just to give more space to the low back. That's really important. And left knee over the left ankle. Such a grounding pose, right? We feel our feet, we feel our hips. And then on your inhale, start to tilt the torso forwards. So you're on this nice angle. And then as you exhale, step the right leg up to tap next to the left toes. And then inhale, take it back. And notice hands can be at the heart, at the hips, if that's too much with them up to the sky. But the torso, we want this long spine, so we're not rounding in the upper back as we do this. We want the heart to be nice and open. Relax your left toes if you're gripping. Relax the jaw, relax the muscles in the face. Just one more. Set the right foot down. Come into your Utkatasana, your chair pose. Maybe reach the arms up. Again, perhaps you smile here. Swing the left arm back behind you. The right arm's going to stay forward to find your twist. Open up through the left side of the body. Hips are going to stay forward. Good. Inhale to come back up through center. Reach the arms up and then straighten out through the legs. Oh, and relax the arms down by the sides and just pause. You can close the eyes. You can bring a hand to the heart or the belly. You can sway. Yeah, I see some of that happening. And then again, we're going to turn the toes out a little bit, feet a bit wider than the hips. And we move through this somatic practice. So before we get started, you might imagine, what am I scooping up? What do I want to offer from the earth up? And that might sound like, I don't know, just see what maybe comes up. Flowers, stars, energy, light, whatever it is. Okay, inhale, reach the arms out nice and wide. And exhale, bring the hands down. Scoop up, reach the arms up to the sky and open. Maybe it's something more figurative, like love or joy. kindness, patience, right? It can be that too. And here's where our practice turns to bhakti, turns to devotion. Beautiful. Ah, so lovely. And the next time we come down, no rush, we're going to move right back into that Malasana. So as you come down, you can even prop your heels up too on a blanket if you feel like you're kind of in between. Again, you can also sit on a block or two or hover in your Malasana. Elbows on the inside of the knees, weight back in the heels, heart reaching forward. Stay right here. Or if you want, take the right hand on the inside of the right foot, a little bit past the right toes, and you're going to start to extend the left arm up to the sky. So you get a bit of a twist here. You can look up to the left hand, you can look down to the right, whatever your neck is asking for. And then gently coming to center and switching sides. Left hand comes down, inside of the foot or a little bit past the left toes, and then right arm reaches up. Nice big twist or small. And gently coming down, find your way into Uttanasana, your forward fold, rocking your weight back forward. Inhale, take a halfway lift. Exhale to fold, plant the hand, step back, whatever you'd like to move through right now. Stillness, Chaturanga Dandasana is all acceptable here, or none of the above. And eventually we're going to find our way towards the floor. Okay, we're going to start to move our way towards the floor. So you can move through child's pose, come to seated, and then swing the legs around. Okay, so we're going to come into Janu. We're going to come into a variation of Janu. Very grounding posture where we're literally getting our pelvic floor, our hips, our legs on the ground, and just have a strap near you because you might want to try this variation. You might hate it, and so you can just toss it. You might love it, so just have a strap handy. Now you're going to take your left leg out in front, and the right foot can be on the inner thigh, or we're going to take it up a notch for this practice. You can bring that foot to the inner thigh, okay? Or excuse me, to the hip crease. I just said to the inner thigh, to the hip crease. And that can be a lot on that knee. So if you're like, kind of want to try this, but I need more support, you can bring a block underneath of the knee. You can bring a blanket. You can bring any of those things underneath of the knee. Now, if you're in this variation, we're going to fold in a moment. You can take a long spine and inhale here. As you exhale, you might notice I'm not going very far because we're also stretching that right hip. So you can grab your strap or a scarf or a hand towel and bring it around the ball of the foot and begin to gently guide the chest forward. Now, of course, if you're like me, you can't go as far forward anymore just because there is a barrier in the form of a tiny human, which is fine. So see if you can let the spine be long so you're not rounding too much in the back. And if at any point you want to drop that foot down to the inner thigh, go ahead and do that. Two more breaths. Start to lift yourself up as you're ready. Now, you can remove the strap. I'm going to offer another variation in a moment. can drop the foot back to the inner thigh. We're going to do a twist, a little bit of a twist here. So right hand can be on the shin. It can be on the foot if you have the space. It can be on the floor. And we're just going to turn the torso over towards the right here and start to lift up that right arm. Did I say right arm hand? This hand is the left hand. That will stay down. Now, if you want to take this a little bit deeper, you can come back to this video and do it again. It's the beauty of these practices. You're going to take a bit of a twist here. So you can take that right arm, spiral the palm to face away from you, and then reach that hand back behind you, kind of like we did for thread the needle if you took that option. And you're just rolling the chest open. The last option is to take a strap, a hand towel, you know, any of those things, a scarf, loop it around your foot that's resting right in that hip crease, and you're going to reach around and find the strap, okay? Some of us will be able to find the foot eventually, but this is a really beautiful variation. So you take the strap, hand can be down on the inside of the leg, outside of the leg, and you just take that leverage to roll the chest open. Wherever you are, about 3 more breaths, okay? You can also always drop that right foot down to the floor, down into traditional Janu. And then gently starting to release it. And as you release it, releasing your breath, making a sigh, any sort of sound. Woo. And then we go ahead and we switch. So right leg will come forward, left foot can come to the inner thigh, all right? That's option 1, always. If you want to take it to the other variation, we've been opening the hips and warming them this way. Take that foot to the hip crease, all the way up into the hip crease. You need to prop up your knee, okay? We're gonna get the spine nice and long. Maybe you grab a strap and you bring it around your toes, the ball of the foot, take an inhale, and then as you exhale, begin to fold. So it's very natural as we're in this newer shape to not have as much range of motion, which is fine. It's totally fine. Lengthen out through the spine, drop the chin just slightly. And then gently start to lift up. If at any point you want to drop the foot, drop the foot. You can also keep holding onto your strap. We're going to take this open stretch, or you can just set the hand down anywhere on the leg, outside of the leg. Rotate the chest over to this time the left side, and the left arm will reach up to the sky. So just kind of nice opening, nice heart opening here. And remember, we have these options. You can snake that arm around the back. You can reach left hand for the right hip. Roll the chest open. You can also experiment with now the strap around the left ball of the foot, and you're going to reach around with your left hand, find the strap, right hand's going to come back down to the earth, your leg, and then use the strap to help you roll the chest open, almost as if you're resting on a wall behind you, okay? Three more breaths wherever you are. It's a big stretch no matter what the shape that you're taking is. And gently lifting all the way up. Oh, yeah. Releasing your strap. Releasing the leg. We're going to make our way into a comfortable seat. So finding the props that you need to move into that comfortable seat so we can move through a pranayama practice and either seated meditation or shavasana. All right. So take your time in finding your seat. Bring the palms down to the knees just for a moment, or the thighs. And if it's comfortable for you, you might right away close the eyes. Begin to align the spine. So lengthening the tailbone down to the earth. Finding the shoulders over the hips. Back of the head is aligned over the sacrum. So we're not really pushing the chin forward. The body starts to relax into the posture even as we're seated. And take the two peace fingers, so the pointer finger and the middle finger on each hand. You're going to make peace signs and drop them down on either side of the legs. So you're pressing pointer finger and middle finger into the earth. Keep softening the shoulders, lengthening the spine. So this is a mudra. It's a grounding mudra. And we're going to add a Kumbhaka pranayama on the inhale and the exhale. So just listen to where we're going first. You don't have to try it yet. With the fingers gently resting, the pointer finger and the middle finger of each hand on the earth. On our inhale, we'll draw the breath in through the nose and then pause. Hold the breath when we get to almost the top. And then as you take your exhale, it'll be out through the nose and we're going to pause at the bottom. Okay, so it'll be a hold at the top and the bottom of the breath. All right, so just take a breath in and out naturally. And as you're ready, inhaling to fill up, nice and gentle. Pause at the top of the breath. And through the nose, exhale. And pausing gently at the bottom. And then trying it again. Inhale through the nose. Pause. Exhale through the nose. Pause. Continuing. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. And pause. And continuing with this practice, we're never forcing the breath, we're never forcing the body to expand. So take it to your height of inhalation, your depth of exhalation. Shoulders are relaxed. All the muscles of the face are relaxed. And continue this. See if it might feel okay to hold the breath just a little bit longer, just 1 second longer on the inhale and on the exhale. See what happens when you try that. I'm beginning to finish out this practice. And as you finish your exhalation, keeping the eyes gently closed, you can start to float the hands to the lap. The palms can face up. And then just noticing the breath, noticing the body, noticing your energy. And beginning to place all of our awareness towards the base of the spine and or the base of the pelvic floor. And this is where the element of earth, this is where first chakra resides, our stability, our security, all of it is related to this space. And I just want you to see the color red here. Whatever that means for you. Imagining the color red in this space of the body, allowing the breath to be effortless, body relaxed, and focusing our awareness here. And imagine that this color is starting to expand and is starting to fill into the entire pelvis. Notice the shade, the hue of red that you see. Is it vivid? Is it more of a rust color? Is it rosy? And then as the red starts to expand and infiltrate the pelvis, allow it to move down the legs. So filling the lower body, the legs, the ankles, the feet. And I'm beginning to move back up the legs. And as you do so, the color will come with you through the pelvis, beginning to bathe the abdomen. Moving up towards the chest, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and the fingers. up the throat, all the way into the face, the skull. So the whole body is bathed in this grounding energy. And I'll recommend that we stay right here seated for another few minutes. If your body is tired though, and you want to lay down, please lay down. Please come into Shavasana. And as you're here hearing these mantras, hearing this affirmation repeated and reverberating in the body, so you can repeat to yourself, it is safe to trust my body. It is safe to trust my body. It is safe to slow down enough to listen. It is safe to slow down enough to listen. I honor my body's wisdom. I honor my body's wisdom. And I'll invite you to stay in meditation in Shavasana for a minute or two longer, 5 minutes if you have it. If you're at time, you're here live, or you only have an hour, you're doing this later, we're about there. So if you're on the back, beginning to transition, if you are seated, go ahead and place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. And as you arrive there, coming back to the seat, you can do this too. I just want you to drop the chin down towards the chest for a moment. As we're learning to honor our bodies unconditionally, not waiting, right, for external validation, I want to offer this refrain from Ayurveda. So the medicine, truly the medicine that is Ayurveda. In Ayurveda, it is said that the disease or the dis-ease is the cure. You can let that settle for a moment as we're here after practice and breath and meditation. The dis-ease is the cure. And why? Because it is a guide of where we need to go for our healing and where we need to listen more fully. Breath in, breath out. I bow to you. Om Shanti, Om Peace. Thank you for sharing this time. And I will see you for the next practice. Thank you.